Tune in to this week's Xamarin Essential API of the Week, where I'm talking about app actions, deep linking from your app icon for your users. Welcome back to another Xamarin Essentials API of the Week. Today, I'm really excited because we have a brand new API called App Actions. And you may be wondering, what are App Actions? Well, they're a really cool mechanism to enable you to put dynamic content into your app icon. So when the user long presses, you can display a list of options that can display information, or the user can tap on it to go to specific areas of your application. So let's get started. Now, I like to get started right on the documentation homepage for Xamarin Essentials. When you create a new Xamarin application, you're going to have everything you need to get started. But in case you're upgrading or adding Xamarin Essentials to an existing app, there's a great Get It Started guide right here. And of course, feature guide. So this is all of the plethora of different APIs in Xamarin Essentials. And we're going to be taking a look at app actions. Now, in every single document for Xamarin Essentials, you'll see these getting started for what you need to add to the different project types. Most APIs don't have any actual requirements, but some may have some special permissions or some additional boilerplate code that you need to add. And then you can learn about the different APIs here. So that's where we're going to get started today. So I'm going to hop over into Visual Studio. And the first thing that we'll note is over in my NuGet package manager, I've upgraded to Xamarin Essentials 1.6.0. That is where App Actions was added. And as of today of recording this, that's the version that is out today. So you want to make sure you upgrade everything for Xamarin Essentials and you'll be good to go. Now, App Actions specifically are these deep links into your app. So there is a little bit of boilerplate code that you need to add into your Android, iOS, or Windows app. So here inside of my main activity where my app starts, we are going to add this intent filter. And this is how the app action knows to call into your application. And this is provided automatically by Xamarin Essentials. So you just add this piece of code from the docs directly there. Then what we're going to do is add two more overrides for the resume and on new intent. Now, these are both two different areas in which the Android operating system will call into your application when that sort of deep linking app action occurs. Now in iOS, also here inside of the app delegate, there's a single line of code for perform action for shortcut URL that will basically, for all intents here, just call into and deep link into Xamarin Essentials. So what we've done here is we've sort of hijacked what's going on and said, hey, instead of me manually handling these events, let's go ahead and forward those to Xamarin Essentials. That will then give me a cross-platform API to handle that. All right, so now let's go ahead and implement app actions. So here's what we're going to do. The first thing that we're going to do is set up and create our app actions. So I normally like to do this on the onStart, but you can, of course, do these at any time in your application. And they're supported on most operating systems. Check the documentation. On iOS, I believe it's iOS, I think 11 or 12 plus or so, but double check the docs on that. So here's what we're going to do is inside of a try catch, just in case something terrible goes wrong, we're going to call app actions, which is the name of the API in Xamarin Essentials. And I can get all of my app actions asynchronously. I can register for an event or set my actions asynchronously. And here, this just takes a parameterized list of app actions. So here, let's create a new one, and we'll create a new app action. Here we go. And it takes in an ID, a title, and optionally a subtitle and an icon. We have those also documented inside of the documentation for you to take a look at. So this one is going to deep link into another page of our application. So we're going to call this app info. And that's the identifier that I can use when this is triggered later on. And then we're going to give it a title. So we'll call it Essentials App Info. All right. And just like that, we've set it up and we're good to go. And that's all it takes to set an action. That's it. So one line of code to set it. Now what we're going to do is create an event that we can subscribe to when the user triggers our app action. So let's go ahead and zoom in again. And I'm going to say app actions dot on app action plus equals, and just hit tab there and OK. What this is saying is that when this app action is triggered, go ahead and simply call this event. And we'll have some information here, such as this app action event arg, which will give us the app action with the title, subtitle, and the ID that we can look at. Now, this can be happening on a background thread. It can happen at any time. So what we're going to use is main thread, which we've talked about before in a previous episode. And we're going to make sure that we run anything on the UI thread here. And what we're going to do is we're going to say if e.appaction.id equals app info, which is what we gave it previously, we are going to go ahead and we're going to navigate to that page. So this will be asynchronous, and we'll say shell.current.goto. And here we are going to go ahead and give it the name of the page to navigate to. So we are going to go ahead and say /root plus name of app info page. Now, we know that this is the name that we want to go to because if I open up the app shell here, we are going to see app info in our shell, and the route is the app info page right there. Now, you could be using not shell, and you can just do normal navigation too. It's up to you however you want to navigate or do something else. You don't actually have to navigate to a page. This is just an example. You have free range to do whatever you want to do. And that's what's really important here. So that's literally it. I mean, align a code to register, do what you want to do, and then obviously, of course, create the set of app actions that you want. And each platform can have a different amount. So you can have 3, 4 of them inside of there. So now we're just going to go ahead and recompile and deploy our application. As of right now, inside of this app, if I long click on it, we'll just see it says app info, which is generic for Android. That is on every single one that's in here. So that is the default. That's why I called it Essentials app info. So let's let it go ahead and let it deploy. Here we go. Perfect. Now, this is pretty cool because our application has been deployed. This is the same app that we've been using for the entire Essentials API of the week, and we've upgraded it to all the different versions, and it's just this little login page here. So now when I go to the home page here and I long press, see it says Essentials app info. It's completely different. In fact, if I was to drag and drop this onto, let's say, the home screen here, I would get the same UI, Essentials app info, and you can have all of them, and the user can even reorder them. And we'll tap on it, and look at that. It launches the application, and boom, it goes directly into the app info page. So it gives you that flexibility to automatically have these deep links in there. Now, the same thing is true for iOS. I actually have my iOS device here. I've deployed it already from Visual Studio. And when I long press here, we see app info here, and I can tap on it. It'll launch the application if it hasn't been booted up yet. And boom, there it is. You get that flexibility to give your users deep links into different parts of your application with just 2 or 3 lines of code. But that's going to do it. That's this week's Essential API of the Week for App Actions. I hope you found this super helpful. And of course, I'll put links to the entire playlist of Xamarin Essentials API of the Week, and of course, links to the app and documentation. I hope you really enjoyed this, and thanks for tuning in. Hey, it's James. I'm just checking in and wanted to thank you for watching this awesome Xamarin Essential API of the Week. Now, don't forget to do all the things, such as like, subscribe, and ding that notification bell for even more videos. And while you're here, check out more Xamarin Essential API videos of the week. They're all right here. Go do it right now. It's awesome.